Yeah, we were trying to solve the sound issue earlier today, but we didn't really get it to work. But I will just jump the video.
You can try once.
Yeah. Yeah, but it doesn't work. I cannot get the sound on the video.
Okay. So you can speak with that while the video is on.
I think it hardly makes sense. It's a lot of floating pictures, and I think it will hardly make sense to do that. So it might be a little bit shorter, but you know, I think I will work it out pretty much like 15 minutes.
Okay, as you think.
Yeah.
Better.
Completely fine, Mr. Larson. I'm sure even without the video, your presentation.
No. It's okay. It's okay. I'm still not sure if it's problem on my end or whatever it is, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay. So just to brief all the speakers and attendees here, we are 2 minutes from the start time right now, but we may start just a few minutes later, maybe around 6:03 or 6:04, so that we have a sizable number of attendees. We already have about 35 people joined in. Sophie Glossia, if you could also turn your video on in a couple of minutes, I think that would be great. Thank you. Thanks, Sophie.
Manav has joined. Manav, you can just try your speaker.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
So you will be presenting through your this thing, PPT, or you can try and see if it is working quickly.
Yes, sir. Let me share.
Mhm. Yeah,
Can you?
It's
yeah,
visible. It's visible, Mr. Vedant.
perfect. You can take it out.
Let me see, sir. It's working.
Yeah, yeah.
Hi, good evening, everyone. To those who've just joined us, I'd like to inform you that we'll start in a couple of minutes. Thank you. Hi, everyone. In the interest of time, I think I would like to begin the session. Welcome, everyone, and welcome to our esteemed panelists. This is the fifth part of our five-part webinar series, and to those who are rejoining us from our earlier webinars, great to have you again with us. We have done webinars on all five biofuels or the sources where it is used. We've done it on bio-based diesel, biogas, marine biodiesel, and SAF as well. And this is the last part on ethanol. We've received tremendous response from the biofuels community, and I'm grateful for that support. In this context, we may consider extending the knowledge webinar series, and we look forward to hearing from you on what you would like to hear in the next part of the knowledge webinar series. I would like to now invite Ms. Yashika Mehta, who's the GBA Nodal Point for India, to provide opening remarks for the session. Hi, Ms. Mehta. Could you hear me?
She has joined. She is telling I am already there.
Yes, yes. I checked with her. She's here. I think she may have to be promoted to a panel so that she can speak. You can just allow us a moment. Hi, could you yeah, I think she'll be joining. Perhaps. Yeah.
Already there. Hi. Thank you for promoting me as panelist. A very good evening from India to all the participants and colleagues from around the world. And let me extend you a very warm welcome to each one of you for today's webinar, which is organized by GBA. Like Isha mentioned, this is fifth and final session of the GBA Knowledge Webinar Series. And over the past few months, this series has tried to explore multiple facets of biofuels landscape. And today's session is dedicated to bioethanol, a sustainable and versatile fuel that plays a vital role in decarbonization of the transportation sector. Across several countries, including India, ethanol blending programs have demonstrated how policy, technology, and innovation can come together to reduce carbon intensity and enhance energy security. Also, beyond the transport sector, bioethanol is emerging as a clean cooking solution, and we look forward to hearing more about this during the webinar. When we launched this series in June, our main aim was to deepen global understanding of biofuels, their technologies, market opportunities, and policy frameworks, while showcasing innovative case studies and best practices from around the world. Equally important was to have a meaningful dialogue among stakeholders to identify key challenges, share solutions, and chart actionable pathways for advancing this biofuel industry. As we move forwards towards the conclusion of this series, I believe we have successfully met these objectives. The response to this series has been very encouraging, and based on the continued interest from stakeholders, we will certainly explore extending it further. Before we begin, I'm pleased to share that GBA will participate at COP30 in Brazil next month, where we'll host a dedicated GBA pavilion and several knowledge sessions as well on biofuels. I invite all of you to visit the pavilion and engage in the discussions and contribute to advancing the global biofuels agenda. Thank you, and I look forward to an insightful and an engaging session ahead. Over to you, Isha.
Thank you, Ms. Mehta. I would now like to introduce Shantanu Gupta, who's recently joined us as Director Technical of the Global Biofuels Alliance. Dr. Gupta, could you please introduce yourselves and take over as the moderator of the session? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Isha. Well, thanks, Madam, for a very beautiful opening remarks. And welcome once again to all our learned panelists and all the attendees which are across the globe. It's a very privileged moment for me to be a part of GBA and also to be part of this webinar. And as Madam has already mentioned, there is no bound. The sky, even the sky is not the limit. We can go beyond that. The biofuels expansion is going to happen in this whole world for the betterment of the climate, betterment of this rural populations, and the energy security. These are the three big milestones we have. And we are really happy to be part of this journey, the transition journey. The energy transition is being talked about. And here, this eminent panelist, which we are having, this will be distributed in two segments. We'll have three panelists speaking in the first segment. Each panelist will have 15 minutes time. And then we'll have, after all you three have spoken, we'll have 10 minutes question and answer session. And again, we'll go for the second round. There will be Again, the similar way, 3 panelists will be there. They will speak about 15 minutes each. And then we'll go for a question and answer sessions before concluding today's webinar. It's very heartening to note your interest and see that large attendance today. First of all, I will now introduce our first panelist, Dr. Glosia Mendes Souza. Yes, Dr. Glosia, to give a few words about her. She is a full professor at the University of Sao Paulo, specializing in sugarcane biotechnology and genomics and bioinformatics. With a PhD in molecular biology and postdoctoral training in the US, she leads research on plant genomics, platforms for climate-resilient crops, and bio-based chemical applications. Dr. Souza actively contributes to sustainability assessments and international bioenergy initiatives under the IEA, GBEP, and BioFuture platform. She serves on multiple global scientific boards, including SCOPE and WBA, coordinates Brazil's participation in IEA Bioenergy tasks, and is an Eisenhower Fellow recognized for her leadership in bioeconomy research. So we are really happy to get you here, madam. So I request you to start your speaking. Floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the kind introduction. I will share my screen. Okay, can you see my slides?
Yes.
All right, so thank you. I will be talking today about studies that we conducted on the potential for expansion of biofuels production in emerging markets, and with a focus on bioethanol, but we also looked at other biofuels, including biodiesel. The talk will be based on these reports on Latin America, Africa, and Asia, and also on the lessons learned Intertask report, all conducted under IEA Bioenergy and IEA Bioenergy Task 39. And I would also like to refer you to this fact sheet that we produced this year that reviewed and synthesized more than 80 references to major reports and open access, high impact scientific articles that focus on sustainability aspects of biofuels production. You can access this by using this QR code here. And now let's start. So our first question was, how can emerging markets contribute to the effort of biofuels, needing to grow by 2.5 times from today to 2030, displacing almost 800 million tons of fossil CO2, or 10% of today's global transport emissions. So remember these 800 million tons, this is coming from the net zero scenarios of IEA. And we wanted to see how much the Global South was ready to contribute to this effort. We started by looking at the policies that were in place. We categorized, evaluated countries and grouped them by biofuel use being fully implemented. Those are in blue. Blending mandates being partially implemented. Those are in green. And then countries that had already a policy framework in place, but it was not yet implemented. So we started by looking at Latin America. We chose Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, and Guatemala. We looked at land use. So this is the share of total land used for pasture land in orange, for crop land in salmon, and for soybean, sugarcane, corn, palm, and I think soybean, corn, palm, and sugarcane. And if you look at the relative area used, there is not a lot of area compared to the amount of pasture land and agricultural land that is being used. So we calculated using an integrated life cycle analysis, techno-economic analysis, land use analysis, and also sustainability aspects, how much land and how much was already the contribution of these 4 countries to the decarbonization effort with biofuels that they are already producing. So the contribution of these 4 countries was around 60 million tons of CO2, and we calculated how much land we would need to double this contribution. We are calculating only using pasture land to produce energy crops, and we are also considering the final price at the pump, how economically competitive this biofuels would be, and if it would create added revenue for the producers, considering policies in place that would reward if you decreased emissions. And we use RenovaBio, the Brazilian policy framework that is rewarding producers that are certified and to be reducing emissions with decarbonization credits. And we calculated that this effort could be generating $1.2 billion extra every year for these countries, considering $10 per ton of avoided CO2. We then got very happy with these results and started looking at Africa, Asia, and Southeast Asia. And we chose from these regions China, Ethiopia, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, South Africa, and Thailand, that combined with Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, and Guatemala correspond to almost half of the world's population and almost a third of the global emissions. And if these countries keep growing as they are very large nations, they are growing very rapidly, they would contribute with a lot of emissions in the future. So we calculated using local productivity from sugarcane, soy, corn, and palm through all these routes here. So oil, palm, rapeseed, and soybean for biodiesel, ethanol from corn and sugarcane. Those are the routes to produce ethanol and biodiesel, and combined using the yields that are already in place. All these countries already produce these crops. These countries could be producing more than 100 billion liters of biofuels. So the amount of land required would be 0.1 to 10% of their pasture land, and the amount of savings would be more than 300 million tons of CO2 per year. And we simulated several different scenarios with different blending mixtures depending on the country, with sometimes more aggressive blends, sometimes moderate scenarios, but the avoided emissions in a moderate scenario would be of 200 million tons of CO2 per year. On the bottom on the left, you see the different blends for the different countries and the amount of total land needed from these countries. And to the right, the amount of emissions reductions in comparison to gasoline. Okay, so up to 80% of decreased emissions could be achieved by these different blends. And we got very encouraged, because if we are talking about reducing, needing to reduce 800 million tons of CO2 in transportation, these less than a dozen countries, 11 countries, could contribute to almost half if you add these 200 millions to the 120 million that I talked about for Latin America. So why pasture land conversion? This is data over for 20 years of conversion of pasture land in Brazil. degraded pasture land into sugarcane land. So you see that in 20 years, our land 20 years ago was severely degraded, and with this transition, our land was recomposed. There is no signs of degradation in many spots now. 98% of the sugarcane expansion happened in these lands or lands already used in agriculture. This transition was removing 9.8 million tons of CO2 per year. And in 20 years, this corresponded to the equivalent of us having planted 1.4 billion trees. So it is quite significant and a very good sign if you talk about food security, that you are restoring your land, increasing soil carbon in this effort. Then if you need more land for food, you can have use this land. Part of the issue also of using pasture land is that we have always this narrative that biofuels compete with food security. And we wanted to have a look at how much of this narrative is true. And I've identified this article that did a meta-analysis with a statistical analysis combined of 224 papers and concluded that there is no correlation between the type of bioenergy feedstock being edible, inedible, or both edible and inedible, and food security. For food availability, 2/3 of the articles reported positive effects, especially on the household scale. For food prices, when there is a negative effect, that would be on high social development index countries. On food production, positive effects were shown on countries that have low social development index, so most of the global south, and no effect on food prices on these low SDI countries. So when you see a negative effect, the authors also show that the studies are based mostly on modeling, and when you observe data, when you use real-world data, the report of negative impact was lower. So we wanted to look at what is real data showing, and I found a study conducted using AI that evaluated the impact of biofuels, biomass, and bioenergy on sustainable development goals. They evaluated 11,000 publications. I'm showing you here just the conclusions on the top SDGs affected by biomass, biofuels, but I want to see that there is an impact even on zero hunger, because when you balance food and fuel production with modern agricultural practices, this support resilient agricultural systems, and this practice enhance food security while enabling energy production. So we looked at all the things that we have observed when we have biofuels production together with food production in Brazil, and we see purchasing power improving, energy access improving, agricultural infrastructure, agricultural modernization, and soil quality, as I already mentioned. Purchasing power on the side of ethanol from sugarcane. This is quite studied in Brazil. We increase literacy and schooling years, wages, formalization of work, the outlook for next generations. There is an increase in GDP per capita in municipalities hosting bioethanol companies. We have engagement also of small producers, and job opportunities increase. So this all contribute to food security, because the biggest cause of food insecurity is poverty. Also, we look at energy access. This is a direct correlation. Energy access is directly correlated to Human Development Index. 700 million people in the world do not have electricity, 80% in rural areas. And of course, this impacts food security. And we have seen in Brazil, since mills make more energy than they need, they export to the grid, and they are powering 10.8 million homes, increasing energy access in rural regions. Also, we have developed through this added value that is brought to the agricultural practice by including biofuels, we have developed a lot of best management practices and included, this is a recent development that is contributing a lot to our ethanol production, which is second cropping of corn. So in orange, you see the increase of corn production in Brazil, but you see the first cropping, second cropping means you are in the same land, in the same year, producing 2 harvests, now even 3 harvests. And then with this, they are making the second cropping, they are making ethanol. So this complements well with ethanol from sugarcane because you don't have a sugarcane for 4 months a year. And now you see the red dots on the right graph. We are complementing our ethanol production in those months that we don't have sugarcane now with crop with ethanol from corn. I want to also talk about the other benefits, and I'm also almost finishing here, that are on the end use side. When you blend ethanol to gasoline, what happens? So actually, ethanol performs better than gasoline, and blended gasoline is better than gasoline. Compared to gasoline, ethanol has 30% lower heating value, 38% lower air-to-fuel ratio. This brings more energy in the cylinder, higher torque, so we have a higher octane rating, okay? This allows higher compression, better efficiency in modern engines. And most importantly, this is important for big cities, low pollutants. When you use ethanol blended into gasoline, this is really studied in Brazil, you reduce aromatics and emissions and ultrafine particles that cause health problems in the cities with particulate matter. So this is also an added benefit. So we are able, I think, at this point, to promote ethanol as technically the solution, not an alternative fuel, because we are seeing the best use of land. It is better than gasoline, there is better end use, and it is cost competitive. And you need to have in place enabling policy frameworks that allow for all the benefits to be expressed, including environmental and socio-economic benefits. I will jump to this just to say that we are conducting under IEA Bioenergy an implementation agenda report that over the next 2 years we'll be collecting data from emerging economies. So I will be happy to collaborate with institutions that produce reports on their progress on biofuels implementation agenda, and also announce that we will be present. IEA Bioenergy is now a cooperative climate initiative of UNFCCC, and we have been producing these cards, posting on our LinkedIn account, and we'll be happy to discuss how to meet the pledge of multiplying by 4 times the production of sustainable fuels that is being promoted by Brazil, India, Japan, and Italy for the next COP30. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have really enriched ourselves with a very good development, what is explained. Not only the agricultural boost, but you have shown how the cropping pattern has been changed, 3 harvesting per annum. And these are all really giving a beautiful scenario that how Brazil has taken this forward. Also the sustainable cities, which is very important from that emission is coming down. And above all that 4X for COP30, that campaign by 2035 for the best level of 2024. So thank you, madam. Thank you very much. So we'll have some questions, but we'll take it after another 2 speakers complete their, their speaking. So now I will invite Mr. Larsen, and he's an agricultural expert with extensive experience in international agribusiness and market development. Formerly business development manager at KWS SAT, he led the company's sugar beet division in Denmark, steering growth in a highly competitive seed market, and he has been instrumental in opening new international markets, devising go-to-market strategies, and fostering innovative business models. Ilo holds as an advanced degree in agriculture from the Royal Veterinary and Agricultural University of Copenhagen, specializing in crop science, plant protection, and soil sciences. So at the time, Mr. Ilo, where we are all fighting for food versus fuel, non-grain, ethanols, this effort is going to really enlighten us for taking it further. Over to you. You can start now.
Thank you, Dr. Sasanu. Thank you so much. And also very much thank you for letting me being a part of this forum here. I will share with you some few slides, which takes the starting point in beet, Beta vulgaris. And I hope you can see my screen by now.
Yes, we can.
Very well, very well. So thank you for letting me in here. I'm coming to ethanol from a different angle, maybe. I'm certainly not an ethanol specialist, but I know something about beet. I am born and raised on a Danish farm, and I am, as mentioned, a Master of Science in Agriculture from the University of Copenhagen. I have through years been a lecturer at Agriculture College in Denmark and working in extension. I was working in the Danish Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Danida development projects, working also in Bangladesh. I have been a country manager in Denmark for 4 years. And then recently I joined a position within KWS, which is the biggest seed company for sugar beet seed in the world. I joined with business development, and here I'm mainly focused on developing beet in India. And this is what I will tell you about. Just one single slide about KWS. So everything in KWS started with a sugar beet. So past the Napoleon Wars in Europe, it was started to look into breeding of a native plant, Beta vulgaris. It started in 1856. And through the years, we have added several crops to our portfolio. And now we are the leading company to produce seed in sugar beet. And we are in more than 70 countries. I was going to show you a small video here, but as I'm not able to share the sound in the Zoom environment here, I think I will jump this small video. First of all, let me say about the beet crop. So Beta vulgaris, it's a temperate region sugar and energy crop. It's been developed through breeding through many, many years. And it's now highly developed via classical breeding. We are not working much in GM, so it's classical breeding. And let it be noted that the fodder beet part of Beta vulgaris family has been the core feed for cattle in Europe for many, many years. And let also it be reminded that beet contains almost 80% water, but it also contains some very valuable 15 to 20% sugar, depending on where you are in the world, in which fields you grow your crop, and how you look after your crop. Actually, beet is, we say, unbeatable. It is really a fantastic CO2 capture. 1 hectare of land can produce more than 15 tons of dry matter per hectare, and 75% of that will be sugar. And that is why we are focusing also on beet, since it's not really a common crop in India. It's yet to be known about, but when you compare your yield of 15 tons of dry matter per hectare, you are comparing with, let's say, rice and maize and so on, which might be 4, 5, 6 tons per hectare. So second, it has a very, very high water efficiency. You can produce 30 kilogram of dry matter per 1 cubic meter of irrigation water. It's a big issue in many countries, including India. And even sugar beet, it has its origin from the coastal line. So it has a tremendous tolerance to soil salinity. And I believe in India, you have like more than 6 million hectares affected by soil salinity. So imagine we can bring back some land into cultivation again using cultivars which are able to grow well under saline conditions. And not the least, the crop cycle is pretty short compared to many other crops. It's not that I will fight with cane, not at all, but I will mention that sugar beet can produce the same amount of sugar in 5 to 6 months as cane can produce in 11 to 13 months. And then the major point here maybe is that dried beet can be used as a year-round source of energy-rich feedstock for bioethanol or biogas. This is at least what we are investigating. So let me say I don't have the full-fledged solution how to go around this crop in India and how to finalize it up with the usage, practical use in ethanol. But it has a huge potential, I believe. So when you look at the different ways of using this crop, sugar beet is the most abundant species or most abundant cultivar around the world. We grow about 4.5 million hectares of sugar beet around the world. But in the recent 10, 20, 30 years, there's been more and more focus on the green energy. So here comes biogas and most recently bioethanol. So that's also really a potential here. Not the least, continuing from bottom up, the feeding, we can use beet in compound feed, and we are already experimenting using dried beet in compound feed in India. We can store beet in silage. And I mean, fresh feeding is not really for India. The crop harvest window is too short, and we will not be able to store this with 80% water for a long time in the hot Indian summer climate. So that's not really for India, I would say. So beet is a rabi crop in India, so it's drilled around now or October, and it should be harvested in March and April. The season should be as long as possible, as the beet has a wonderful ability to put in weight, put in dry matter. Each and every day is growing. And we should not make the season so long that we will get into trouble with the harvest in the hot and humid season of the summer. So make the season as long as possible, early drilling, September, October, and then harvest in March and April. Once again, the low water footprint here. Sugar beet is, if not the most efficient water usage crop you can have, but one of the very most efficient crops in water usage. And of course, the water you are not using for the crop, you can save for other purposes in the food production, of course. And as mentioned here, the salinity issue. So the most tolerant crop we have of the field crops is barley and cotton. And you also have, as number 3 here, sugar beet in that group, which is fantastic, as you can actually maybe use new areas of land for cultivation. And here you see the world map of beet growing, more or less. And so nobody should doubt that beet can be grown in your region. So just mentioning south of Spain, Morocco, Egypt, Iran, Turkey, Pakistan, and areas around India where beet can be grown. It's certainly possible. We like to select the most cooler area of India for beet growing, and we are trying to do that. But there's a big scope of beet growing in India. I will share a few more slides here, which shows our trial last year from drying beet in West Bengal. So the beet were sliced in thin slices. We were drying it up to a dried stuff over a day or 1.5. And here you see the product, the dried beet. We can dry it down to 7% over 24 to 30 hours. And if we go a little bit further, we could also go into solar drying. This leaves us with a slightly another product, which is maybe a bit better, but we will also add expenses to the drying processes. That's why we are trying to refine and make better our attempt to dry it directly in the sun. So here you see the development from coming from 100% weight and 80% or 90% moisture here, and within 24 to 30 hours, you are down to 7% of dry of moisture in the dried stuff. And of course, it's quite a simple processing with beet. I mean, first you lift them in, like I mentioned, March and April. Then you have to slice the beet up, and then you have to diffuse the sugar out in the sugar sap. First you slice the beet, and then you have the extraction, and then you can ferment it like you do in any other ways when you produce ethanol. Distillation, dehydration to 99 something percent ethanol, and then you have the final product. So again, sugar beet typically contains 16 to 20% sugar. It will be in the lower end for India for sure. It's sucrose, and this is what we have in the beet. And when you take the dry matter, 70 to 75% of the beet dry matter can be used for ethanol production. And if we take the starting point in 60 to 90 tons per hectare, it can be more, it can be less. I mean, some part of the world we have seen tremendous yields here. In Chile, we have one example of one farmer harvesting 197 tons per hectare. But let's start a little bit more modest. If we can calculate with about 100 liters of ethanol per ton of beet, we will come up with 5 to 7,000 liters of bioethanol per hectare. So sugar beet based on ethanol has a good environmental impact. So the energy ratio 2 to 3 and very high GHG reduction versus gasoline. So using byproduct, I mean, if we use there's a lot of byproducts also from the bioethanol production of ethanol from beet. So if you use that for biogas and you can use the heat from that, you can come to GHG savings to more than 80%. So typically 60 to 70% compared to fossil gasoline. Best practice shows up to 85 to 90% reduction. And these values are actually well above the EU Renewable Energy Directive, which is prevailing in Europe. The threshold is 65% minimum there. So of course, it's already been mentioned, this risk of infringement of food security. So let's conclude that beet is a first generation crop. Yes, for sure. But the fact that it has such a high yield, I mean, comparing 15 tons to 5 to 6 tons in other crops, it will release land for other crops, which can be used for feed or food. So we can rehabilitate some wastelands possibly. And we have a short crop cycle, leaving the land empty for other crops. And we have irrigation water saved, which can again be used for other crops. So this was the things about the beet and the crop and so on. And let me say that if anyone should doubt, KWS is in the world to sell seed, and it starts with the seed. And the driver of selling seed is generally increased yields. That's the major thing. But we will always try to partner up with our cooperators here and there. We are into developing resilient varieties, also developing varieties especially for the subtropical regions. We are in many farmer solutions, digital solutions. We are in integrated pest management, and we are eager to partner up with anybody who would like to deal with us. We are the biggest company in selling sugar beet seed around the world. But if we look at all crops, we are number 6 in the world globally. We are number 2 in Europe. We have a net sales of 1.7 billion euro. As mentioned, we are in more than 70 countries, 5,000 employees. And one thing is very special here, that we are kicking back more than 20% into innovation and developing new methods. The breeding process from our crops is generally 1 to 2% each and every year. And here are the crops we're in. So it's easier to say which crop we are not in. We are not in rice. We are not in cane, but cereals, potatoes, rapeseed, maize, sorghum, sunflowers, and of course, sugar beet we are in. These were my slides. So thank you so much. And I hope you could see and hear everything.
Yeah.
So that was my
Very
short
nice. Thank
talk.
you. Thank you, Mr. Larsen. It was really very thoughtful, and you have positioned sugar beet in a way that it can use the saline land, it can have the lower land put, and also the water efficiency. These three are going to be a big game changer. And especially when we see the non-grain feedstock in the ethanol manufacturing, it's going to really give a lot of sunshine in the future. So
We
look
hope so.
forward for your efforts, and also you see the more and more countries, they can go for adopting this to have better food versus fuel efficiencies and also a better GHG achievement. Thank you very much. We'll come back to you with some of the questions which our audience is given at the end of this session. Thank you very much once again on behalf of
Thank
GB.
you. Thank you.
Now I will invite Mr. Jitendra Goel. He is Vice President and Group Head Technical at Toyota Kirloskar Motor Private Limited in India. A mechanical engineer from NIT Jaipur, he brings over 28 years of experience in the automobile sector, covering product planning, vehicle design, powertrain development, and quality assurance. Mr. Goel has been pivotal in introducing advanced technologies, including electrification and alternate fuel powertrains, to the Indian market. His strategic leadership and deep technical expertise support Toyota's vision for sustainable mobility and innovation in India's automotive ecosystem. Welcome, Mr. Goel. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much for your.
Able to share your presentation, Mr. Goel?
In case you want.
If you have any problems, we can also do it from our side.
I think it disconnected this time again, maybe. I'm very sorry. I think I lost in between. So I'll be
Yeah,
sharing in
we
my
can hear you
slide.
now.
Sorry, very sorry.
No problems. Please carry on with your presentation.
So just let me know if you can see the presentation. Still loading.
It is loading. Yeah, it is coming now.
It's taking a lot of time. I will share in the meantime.
Is there any, if you want us to share, you can do it, or can you just try, put off your video and see that if the bandwidth issue is doing some problem here? You can try? We can try to share, just he's trying, just a minute. Okay. So let us try from our side, Mr. Goel.
Will you be able to share the presentation?
Yeah. We
Sorry, I'm sorry.
can try. Just give a moment,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. Possible for full screen?
Yeah, we're going for that.
Thank
Please
you.
start.
I think it's, yeah. So sorry, everyone. So good evening. I'm Jitendra Goel.
Good evening.
So today I'll be presenting about the role of ethanol in decarbonizing road transportation in context of Global South, including India. Next. So if you see the bioethanol uses in the gasoline, so it has been used since beginning of the automobile era, and various countries have adopted bioethanol, around 70 countries. And like France, it has gone up to E85. Philippines and Asian countries are also progressing. Brazil is one of the leader in that, which has gone for E100, and other countries also. And I'll cover how India is also catching up with the bioethanol uses. Next. So let me first cover about the Brazilian scenario because it is electrification with biofuel, which is practical, affordable, and sustainable. Next. So if we see in the Brazil in last 20 years, there has been a tremendous progress where ethanol blend has reached up to 45% average, and they could reduce the CO2 abundant, and there is a 90% of the vehicles are FFE, flex fuel vehicles. And there is not only that, they have got a lot of employment. So ethanol sector has scaled multifold and contributed hugely to the Brazilian economy. And we can find that all the stakeholders are aligned for bioethanol uses in Brazil. Next. So the important point is that how government and automobile companies and everybody is aligned is most important thing to see. They introduced various policies where 2003 they did some kind of tax reduction. 2018 Rota 2030 they launched where they created the tax reduction for FFE HEV, and then they are continuously promoting the biofuel technology. Next. So not only that, they gave the biofuel carbon benefits, CO2 credits also, so that biofuel producer gets CO2 credits to sell the fuel to distributor, and which give him the promotion or motivation to produce biofuel. Next. If you see their carbon condition well to wheel, so you can see that compared to ICE, there is a huge reduction in the carbon per vehicle. And like you can see that flex fuel vehicle E100 is a lot of reduction. And if you see E100 PHEV is almost at the level of the BEV. So by using biofuels, we can achieve carbon neutrality regardless of the powertrain chosen. Next. And yeah. And if you see the customer benefits, they have given the incentives. So a current tax structure, which is the 2025. So flex fuel vehicle, which is 100% ethanol, is 1.5% lesser than gasoline. And a flex fuel vehicle combined with electrification, that is the flex fuel vehicle, strong hybrid electric vehicle. So these vehicles are having the tax of 5.28%, which is a quite less, or around 40% lesser than the gasoline vehicle. And other than that, even fuel price, if you see the difference between E27 and E100 is almost 30 to 34%, which makes it attractive for the customer to use such kind of flex fuel vehicle. So government policies and ethanol price difference are necessary for acceptance of flex fuel vehicles in any country. Yeah, next. And as a result, if you see that they started program in long back in 1970s, but due to some reason they stopped, and once again they restarted, but with a lot of promotional policies. Now FFE, flex fuel vehicles, has picked up, bioethanol usage in the car has picked up, and now, as I told, more than 90% vehicles are flex fuel vehicle, which is shown in the green color. Coming to the ASEAN scenario, yeah, next. So as you can see that the aspiration towards higher blend ratio biofuel is also increasing in ASEAN. Thailand was using E85, but due to the budget burden and some concerns, Thailand is returning back to E20. But other countries are more and more going towards the bioethanol. And not only bioethanol, that Asian countries are promoting even biodiesel using the palm oil. Like Indonesia, you can see they are going for the B40 biodiesel. Yeah. So this is the biofuel blending plan in Asia for ethanol and biodiesel. So as you can see that each country is progressing based on the fuel availability, and they are going towards the higher blends. Now coming to the India scenario. So in India, as you would have heard, that we are targeting energy independence by 2047 and net zero by 2070. So our target is that we are going to have renewable energy of 500 gigawatt by 2030. And by 2047, we are expecting that around 40% of the energy will be either on renewable energy or bioenergy. And government consideration is the multi-pathway as far as automotive is concerned, and various fuel will be used, and in that ethanol is also one of the main fuel which will be contributing to the carbon neutrality. Next. So India journey so far, in last 11 years, we have increased 13 times from 1.5% to 20% blending. As just in the you can see in the Q&A, it was mentioned that already we have achieved 20% this year. And there is a lot of forex saving has happened because India is mostly 90% dependent on the oil import. And not only that, because India being the agriculture country, So farmers' remuneration is also very much benefited. So it is total ecosystem is improving and economy is improving by using the bioethanol. Next. And there is a evolution of ethanol economy in India. There is a national biofuel policy was there. Based on that, E20 was planned in 2030. But based on the government decision, now it is preponed by 5 years. Extension of ethanol biofuel policy to the whole India is given, and focus is ensured on feedstock supply, increasing ethanol production, and meeting blending targets. So government is continuously giving the policy supports and intervention so that successfully we can do the ethanol blending in India. Next. So as you can see that this is the wheel which is moving everything. So supply, feedstock availability, production of ethanol, and then consumptions. Everything is moving in the synchronization. And because of that, there is a fair pricing. Financial incentives are given for the distilleries. GST on ethanol is reduced from 18% to 5%. Long-term ethanol procurement policy is prepared, and it is ensured that pan-India supply is done not only where it is produced. Blending mandate, as I told, is preponed by 5 years, which is 2025, and E20 is mandated for the vehicle, and again government is pushing for the flex fuel vehicles E85 or E100. So robust ethanol ecosystem is there in India to promote ethanol biofuel. Yeah. Next. So this is the ecosystem availability and availability of ethanol. As you can see in the year 25, this is the blue color is from the generation 1, and then this is from the corn. So as you can see that there is an ample availability even after meeting the E20 demand. We have enough capacity available of the ethanol. That is only Gen 1, but if we go to Gen 2, then we have the huge availability of ethanol. And there are many production plants are already set up in India for producing ethanol, and even 2G ethanol plants are also set up in India in various places. Yeah, next. So important point that ethanol life cycle analysis, if we see the India scenario, as we know that biofuel are carbon neutral with zero emission. And if we see in India currently, because electricity is produced from the mainly coal, 70% is from that. So from that point of view, currently BEV well-to-wheel emissions are higher. But if we see the biofuel, FFV, SHEV, the emissions are quite lower compared to, of course, conventional vehicle and even from battery electric vehicle. Next. So the main ethanol, not only it creates the environment friendly, but it support to the agrarian economy where farmer, instead of only producing the food, they are becoming the energy producer. And by that, if you can see that there are a lot of waste of food grain was there, it can be used for the ethanol production in India, and it will give a higher income to farmer. It will improve the rural community, job creation, waste to wealth, where reduced pollution from residue burning, because there is a lot of residue burning happens in India that can be reduced. So higher ethanol usage can create the higher agriculture growth in India. Next. So as you know that in 2023, Global Biofuel Alliance was introduced through G20 in India, where currently 27 countries and 12 international organizations are part of this. And key initiatives are sharing the best practices, close collaboration such as feedstock management, intensify utilization of sustainable biofuel, and global collaboration. So India is also taking lead in this biofuel alliance. Next. So what are the future steps towards the carbon neutral fuel? Currently, there is a focus on improved fuel efficiency and biofuel. Then next step is where maintaining the existing fuel standard, further development of carbon neutrality. We need to reduce the biofuel carbon intensity during manufacturing and power consumption. And then we need to move in step 3 through e-fuel and biofuel, where development of low cost carbon neutral fuel and carbon neutral biofuel where carbon intensity is zero. That is going to be the focus area to move towards the carbon neutrality. Now coming to the Toyota also believe in the multi-pathway approach. We have all the technology, but we introduce the technology suitable to each country. Next. So considering that, important point is not only the technology, but fuel also has to be carbon neutral. So both fuel and technology need to join hands to make the environment carbon free. So from that point of view, when biofuel we are using, and with that combination of electrification like hybrid electric vehicle or plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, it can, as I showed in the past slides, we can reduce the carbon a lot. And similarly, when energy is produced from renewable like electricity and hydrogen, then definitely we can achieve the carbon neutrality. So fuel and technology both have to go in hand. Coming to the circular economy with biomass. So this biomass can be produced bioethanol, and then it can go to hydrogen. Then this bagasse can also produce electricity. So we believe that this kind of circular economy is very important, and we offer diverse energy vehicle to support such kind of circular economy. Either it is FFV vehicle, hydrogen vehicle, biomethane vehicle, or any electric vehicle. So we have to ensure that the circular economy with biomass is established. Next. So this is all from our side. If any queries, we're happy to answer. Thank you very much. And
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Goel.
Thank you.
It's a very exhaustive, and you have started and covered almost the journey of ethanol. I have a personal query for this, if you can kindly enlighten us. We have discussed about FFB, explained, and also we are discussing about the supports given by government in other countries, especially in Brazil. So what is your take for India in the future? How do you see that? What level of price should be competitive so that this can be introduced in this Indian market very fast? Because you have already had your E85 vehicle trial, and all things happened a couple of years ago also started. So what is your take for the future? How is
So definitely, as a technology point of view, we have got the technology and we want to introduce such kind of flex fuel vehicle in the country. What is required to speed up is the infrastructure. That is very important, that we should have the countrywide infrastructure dispensing this kind of higher blend of ethanol. Second point is, and with the good quality, that is most important, because if any lack of the quality, we will lose the opportunity and customer confidence, which we faced in other countries in past. Second point is that the pricing of the ethanol is very important, because if ethanol, like currently also you would have seen a lot of debate happening that why E20 is same cost as gasoline. So it is very important to keep the price difference between ethanol and gasoline, because ethanol has the lower calorific value. So that difference of more than 30 to 35% must be maintained so that customer can accept it. And definitely the some kind of incentive to produce such kind of biofuel vehicle, like in the carbon credits, should be considered, so that each company is motivated to produce such kind of flex fuel vehicle. So already I think two-wheelers are ready, four-wheelers also getting ready. So as soon as such possibility policy supports are given, vehicles will be in market.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Goel, and I will request you to we'll start the question and answer session. Some Q&A we have. I will just start from the beginning because we have earlier speakers. I think we can see the first question. Let's start. Yes. We had our E20 started by India. Yes, that correction is required. We will convey to that. What is the price difference between blended gasoline with respect to pure gasoline? There is a question for Dr. Glosia.
Yes, we have a parity that is around 30% lower cost for ethanol. This happens most of the year. But when we have that period that we don't produce a lot of sugarcane, that we don't harvest because it's not mature, then the costs go higher, and then it's not so competitive. So that's why I think it's important that we are introducing corn ethanol in those periods, so that we can always keep the price lower. And the future is actually that we are going to have flex plants that can process both sugarcane and corn. So it is an ecosystem that I think is advancing so that we can diversify our feedstock matrix. So we have more options to always have production.
Yeah. So another question for you, that what Brazil is doing for the diesel vehicles, because I know there is a soya-based diesel, biodiesel is also has been a mandate up to 15%. So if you have throw some light on that also.
Yeah, so it just increased to be 15 this year. So we are expecting by 2030 to reach B20. And every year until then, increase 1% until we get to B20. So right now, it is mostly produced from soy, but after, this is a byproduct because we actually are, the market is from soy is actually to produce protein, right? So it is the leftover oil, so it's almost a co-product, a byproduct. It's not the main product. And then beef tallow as well in lower quantities. So it's mostly soy biodiesel, at the present B15, and the intention is to increase to B20.
Yeah, hope you will not get into the debate of food versus fuel as you are using soya.
Exactly,
Hopefully.
because of this issue that we are actually producing feed and protein. We export most of the soy for food production, like cattle and poultry, in many countries. So soy is actually feeding the world. We became top exporter of soy grains. And then in Brazil, part of it we process ourselves to produce protein in the country. And then there is this leftover oil. That is the biodiesel. So there is no competition actually with food production from using soy for biodiesel.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. The next question goes to Larsen. You can see that beet gets harvested in March, April, which is near to sugarcane crushing season in India. So can beet be utilized to increase the production of ethanol sugar or intercropping? Also, can beet have simultaneous dual cropping? What's your take on this?
Well, I'm always hearing the idea about intercropping. I'm not sure it's the right approach, but you're right. We have a very short harvesting window for beet, and it's the end of the cane season. But I think it should be possible to combine the two production setups. But I think we must go the drying way. And unfortunately, one slide slipped out of my presentation. This was the explanation about the necessity to dry the beet because once it's dried, it can be a year-round supply of feedstock. And I think that's important because if we harvest beet over 50 to 60 days, it'll be too short to make any major impact to any production. So that's why we definitely need to go the drying way before. And this will, of course, add to the cost of the beet, but we have experimented and we have also calculated that we can produce the dried beet stuff at about 15 to 17 rupees a kilogram. And at the same time, we know that the price of other commodities like grain maize or something is close to 30. So we believe that it can be competitive. And this is with everything included, including the drying process.
Right. So there is a question from South Africa based because sugar beet production in South Africa and bioethanol fuel production would be cost competitive to the basic fuel price of South Africa. If you have studied South African market,
I've not been to South Africa, and we are, India is our first, let's say, country, and so few years back nobody thought of drying beet, but you have the sun for free in India, and there's a huge drying power in the sun. So wherever we have conditions like India, and of course, I'm interested to look into that because we have also spotted South Africa as a potential beet growing country. So I'm fully aware that South Africa should be a good country to grow beet. And you will struggle a bit in some parts of India with the high yields. I mean, you will probably not get the high yields because the night temperature is too high. But some parts of India, you can get good results. And that will also be the case for South Africa.
Yeah. But for the sake of time, I will take another question. Very quick question that, yes, for Mr. Goyal, how about CO2 credit for coffee in India or for commercial vehicles?
Yeah, so in India now, next level of cafe discussion is happening, and in that government has considered some carbon neutrality factor for the flex fuel vehicles, and around 22 point some percentage already there is there in draft, and even for E20 8% of the carbon neutrality factor is considered, which will be given for the CO2 for the passenger car vehicle. For commercial vehicle, as of now, there is no cafe. So in future, when it is there, that will be discussed.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for Mr. Goyal, Mr. Larsen, and Mr. Glossier for a fantastic demonstrations of your thoughts, and we have enriched a lot with your knowledge. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we'll go for the second round of discussion now. I will invite Mr. Deepak Balani. Mr. Deepak Balani is the Director General of Indian Sugar and Bioenergy Manufacturers Association. He has over 25 years of extensive experience in public policy and government affairs and organizational management. He is driving growth and innovation within the sector, especially as the industry navigates evolving policies in ethanol and bioenergy aimed at reducing import dependence and achieving energy security for the country. His career includes notable positions with organizations such as PwC India, UNIDO, and the National Small Industries Corporation, where he focused on projects related to energy efficiency, technology transfer, and international business development. So in the midst of a real challenge, I welcome Mr. Balani for your thoughtful presentation. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Shantanu Gupta, for inviting me for this very, very important webinar. And a warm welcome to everyone in this webinar. Thank you, GBA, for inviting us. Very rightly, very good theme, tracing India's ethanol blending journey, key policy enablers and lessons for the future. And thank you, Jitendra, also for covering a lot of things from my presentation. So my job becomes easier, so I can quickly, go through some of the slides because I don't want to repeat what Jitendra has already mentioned. As we know, we have ISMA, leading association for the sugar and bioenergy, has actually played a very key role in the success of entire biofuel success in the India, and also our India's global position as a pioneer in bioethanol. So we will move with the presentation. So next slide, please. See, India's sugar legacy dates back to our Vedic times. This is a kind of an unbroken tradition of innovations. Today, India is the second largest sugar producer in the world. We are the largest consumer of sugar in the world. And of late, we are the most cost efficient globally because we have the highest cane payment which we make to the farmer in the world. And we have world's lowest sugar prices. So we are one of the most cost efficient globally. As far as the farmers are concerned, because our main ecosystem is related to farmers, the cane payment which we make to the farmer has risen over almost by 50% in last 1 decade, specifically driven by the ethanol-linked value additions and ecosystem. This sector supports almost 55 million farmer families, are true Urja Datas of Bharat, They are the energy providers of India. The entire sugar sector is very highly integrated. We are very robust integrated value chain, including the production of bioelectricity, biofertilizer, biogas, bioplastics. Now we are also getting into sustainable aviation fuel and green hydrogen. So this industry truly model circular economy sector. Next slide, please. Moving into how the entire ethanol policy landscape, very quickly, although the program was launched way back in 2002 at a very small scale, the real impetus came in 2014-16 when EBP was expanded nationwide. But ultimately, when in 2018, a national biofuel policy was announced with a target of 20% blending by 2030, supported by various government schemes. For example, its interest subvention. NITI Aayog, that time Planning Commission, came up with a roadmap for E20, which envisaged that India will achieve E20 by 2030. We also saw a policy refinement for advanced biofuels, specifically on the bolt-on models. And as we all know, that India has been able to achieve E20 5 years ahead of our timeline in 25. Thank you. Next slide, please. Between 2018 and 24, there has been almost 12 to 13 times increase in the ethanol diversion from sugar. We have today, both with grain and sugar, the combined capacity today is 19 billion liters, and with a strong future pipeline as well. We already achieved 20%. This year, we have seen that against a requirement of around 10.48 billion liters, the industry has offered almost 18 billion liters. So today, the problem is of plenty. We have too much of capacity, but we don't have that kind of a demand. So I believe the government is now working on enhancing the consumption and also a roadmap beyond E20. Next, please. This is a visual growth story of how we have moved from negligible levels to almost 20% blending. This trajectory reflects the commitment of the country as far as the policy is concerned, as far as benefit to the farmer is concerned, and how the private sector has played a very key role in success of this program. Private sector has driven this program along with conducive policies of the government, specifically on the welfare of the farmers. If we see today, perhaps the farmer, the sugarcane farmer today, perhaps is the most happy in terms of, or in terms of economically, they are the most, in the way benefits if you take other farmers. So I think sugarcane farmers have immensely benefited because of the ethanol program. Because before the ethanol program was there was always a kind of a sugar cycle where we used to face certain problems in paying the cane payments to the farmer because of the lower viability. But with ethanol program and a better revenue realization, the farmers are getting a very good payment on time. So this demonstrates India's capacity to deliver at scale, to find a solution which is a win-win situation for every stakeholder in this particular ecosystem. Next slide, please. So ethanol blending, perhaps, as you know, this is a national development program. It is not just an energy policy. We have been able to save almost 160 billion in Forex. This talks about the kind of energy security goals. We have replaced huge amount of imported crude. Lot of benefit in terms of direct transfer or revenue to the farmer on cane payments, effectively doubling the farmer income, and about 70 million tons of CO2 equivalent saved, which almost contributes to around 5 to 6% of our NDC targets. And there is a complete seamless infrastructure or logistics with existing fuel supply system at a very minimal transition cost. Next, please. So what is beyond E20? Now that we have already achieved E20, we are now have an overcapacity. What are we looking at? So we are looking at a roadmap beyond E20. There is already an interministerial committee which is looking into what is next for the country. Where should we go beyond E20? Whether we enhance our blending from E20 to E27, similar to what Brazil has done, and also launch of E100 or E85 fuel, along with flexi and smart hybrids. ISMA has also done a comprehensive life cycle analysis of 1G ethanol along with TERI, and you would be pleased to know that India's sugarcane ethanol today has the lowest carbon emission index in the range of 14 to 16 if you compare to Brazil, which is 21 to 24. So this is perhaps a very big achievement, and we are hopeful that government is already working on a CCTS carbon trading mechanism where 1G ethanol also could be given the due for the carbon credits, and some of the cost would be offset to the carbon credits. As our previous speaker Jitendra was mentioning, the OEMs are ready with their flexi fuel vehicles. In the Bharat Mobility this year in January, the OEMs have showcased almost 19 flexi fuel models. Now they are waiting for some kind of a policy framework in terms of GST rationalization, in terms of inclusion of super credits and conducive policies in the CAFE norms. I believe once we have the flexi fuel, I think this will help us in enhancing the average ethanol blending and utilizing the overcapacity of ethanol we have today. Next, please. So as I just mentioned, this is what we are looking at. We are looking at E85 or E100, similar to what Brazil is there. Brazil has a hydrous ethanol. We have been working with the government, suggesting them that hydrous ethanol is the right way to go, so that there could be a direct dispensing by the mills, because we have large number of mills in India, and it is already situated in a lot of rural pockets where there could be direct dispensing from the mills in the rural areas, and there could be a kind of a differential pricing so that acceptability of E100 hydrous is better. It's similar to Brazil model because of their lower calorific value. Next, please. So why ethanol should be a central pillar of transport decarbonization? I think this is the most immediate and scalable pathway for the decarbonization. But it continues, although India has done tremendous work in achieving E20 with its policy, I believe going forward, it needs stronger policy and regulatory backing. In terms of carbon credit, similar to what Brazil has. Brazil has a very good Renova bio model. We hope that government also will have its own Bharat bio model, which can have some kind of a carbon credit model or carbon offset model. Net zero model show that the biofuels are very essential, and biofuel in terms of its, as I said, LCA, well to wheel is perhaps a better clean model rather than if you compare to EVs. I believe on the demand side incentive, government has to now look at tax benefits and differential pricing. Next, please. Lastly, we also have a very, next, please. So we are also now working on sustainable aviation fuel, which will to some extent divert some of my ethanol, which is excess in India. ISMA has already worked with Deloitte and chartered a complete roadmap. There is already a commitment of 1% blending by 2027 and 2% by 2030. Going forward, the blending could be increased. So the ICAO model, the report itself says that the alcohol to jet is perhaps the most feasible way to go forward because of the feedstock aggregation. So as of now, we have a potential by 2030. We feel that A2J, we can produce at least 1.5 billion liters of SAF with diversion of almost good number of ethanol. This aligns with the CORSIA targets and also offers a good opportunity for exports for the global SAF demand. And perhaps I believe the government is soon going to come out with the proper roadmap of SAF rollout so that the investments are there and the diversion of ethanol to some extent also could be done in SAF. Next, please. So thank you very much. And as a concluding remark, I think India's ethanol journey is a success story of policy as energy, I think industry commitment, and also farmer empowerment. We are, as ISMA, committed in partnering with all multi-stakeholders, government, to make India a global bioenergy leader. Also collaborate with other developing economies so that we can also part with a lot of knowledge and successes, a larger absorption of such successes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Balani. It's a very well informed and it's very structured because we have seen the whole ethanol journey. I was tempted to speak in 2012 when I took over ethanol blending as a challenge from OMCs at 0.6%. And it is nice to see that we have achieved 20% today. And you are offering something which there is no taker at this market. So it's a fantastic change in this story. And to connect that, now the next speaker will give you another way out, clean cooking, which Kenya is doing. So with that, thank you very much, Mr. Balani. And I welcome Ms. Sophie for this next session. And it is on this KOKO and clean cooking. Sophie is the Director of Public Affairs at KOKO Networks, a leading clean energy company revolutionizing access to bioethanol-based cooking fuel in Africa. A seasoned professional in government relations, business strategy, and communications, she bridges the gap between policy, business, and community needs. At KOKO, she leads initiatives promoting clean energy transitions from charcoal and firewood to sustainable bioethanol solutions, collaborating closely with governments and stakeholders. Her strategic engagement and advocacy are central to KOKO's mission of delivering cleaner, healthier, and more sustainable energy solutions across African cities. Yes, Madam Sophie, there is a lot of things that India can do because of the surplus ethanol situations. So look forward for your presentations. When I was in Kenya, I had seen your value chain. It's truly amazing to see how you manage ethanol for clean cooking. The floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gupta. Good afternoon, everyone. It's indeed a pleasure to be part of this conversation and to hear a lot of the progress that is being made in this space. But more importantly, the status that has been given to bioethanol. I'm happy to speak about what we as KOKO Networks have done in advancing the use of bioethanol for clean cooking. Next slide, please. So this has been alluded to in terms of what is the driver for what our business entails. We find that a lot of cash conscious consumers, so people who really live on below $300 a month or earn a daily income that is mainly below or around $1, tend to use charcoal or firewood. And this is because it's primarily what is available and what is affordable. And as more people move to urban areas, we find that more charcoal is needed, which has increased the rate at which we cut down our trees. That is one of the key causes of deforestation. And then one of the other issues that made us think about clean cooking is the fact that indoor air pollution does cause not only respiratory problems, but also causes death. Case in point, in Kenya, we lose about 400 people a week, of which about 50% are mothers and children. Next slide, please. I just wanted to highlight the role that government policy is playing in advancing the use of bioethanol for clean cooking. The government has recognized the importance of all clean cooking solutions towards universal access by 2030. And of this, bioethanol is expected to contribute to 30% of the households, so second only to LPG. So definitely food for thought. We came into Kenya back in 2014, we're in our 11th year, and spent 5 years doing R&D. So a lot of what we have done within Kenya can be replicated across other countries, and we do acknowledge that there are opportunities across a number of countries who face the same challenges that Kenya faces. Next slide, please. So diving into how our business operates. So over the last 11 years, we have managed to grow ourselves to be the global leader within the bioethanol cooking fuels sector. And we have proven that the solution that we have developed is scalable. And to date, we are serving over 1.3 million households, which is about 10% of Kenyan homes. We launched in 2019, so that is quite an accelerated uptake. And part of the reason why we have been able to achieve this has been the fact that we are able to mirror or mimic the distribution of charcoal and kerosene. So we are able to get our solution very close to our customers. We are right where they need us. And second, we've made sure that our cooker and our fuel are affordable. So addressing some of the concerns that they have. And then obviously around the indoor air pollution. And this has been spoken about, the fact that bioethanol burns cleanly. So we are able to tick all the boxes of the issues that they face as they cook using charcoal or firewood. So looking at where we source our bioethanol from, we source from the sugar milling sector, where bioethanol is produced as a byproduct from molasses. So unlike other countries where it is produced as the direct product and not as a byproduct, we source ours from the sugar millers. And what we do is we've partnered with Vivo, a company that is well versed in matters of transporting fuel, logistics around fuel. And our partnership entails them undertaking the purchasing and transportation of the bioethanol. And we then store this bioethanol in underground tanks in specific Shell branded petrol stations. And in these underground tanks, which some have been converted from use of kerosene or other fossil fuels, we are then able to uptake this bioethanol and distribute it for last mile. So upstream, our partnership with Vivo is what enables us not to replicate what others are already doing. And as a company, we focus on last mile. So we ensure that the product gets to the consumer. Now, the consumer usually buys a 2-burner cook stove, which means that they are able to cook 2 meals at the same time, as compared to charcoal, where if you look at a charcoal burner, they cook 1 meal at a time. So at least that gives them cooking dignity. And the 2-burner cook stove comes with a 2.3-liter reusable canister. So that way we are able to do away with single-use bottles and are able to have the household only pay for the fuel that they're using. The kit is subsidized as well. We subsidize the kit and the fuel using carbon revenues. So our business model is premised on carbon markets. And the kit retails at about $15, USD dollars. And the ethanol is also subsidized, and it retails at about 60 US cents a liter. Now, in terms of distribution, the fuel, we actually use fuel ATMs, which are similar to milk ATMs. And this concept, I think, has been implemented very well in India. So we used a similar concept and built our own fuel dispensers, which we call KOKO points. And the KOKO point is very similar to, if you're not well versed with milk ATMs, it's similar to just a cash dispenser, only that you're able to buy bioethanol as compared to dispensing fuel. Now, the 2.3-liter fuel canister has an NFC chip, and the NFC chip enables us to to register the customer's mobile number and create an account on the cloud in our system. And that way we are able to track the usage of the fuel by that household. Every customer is assigned a unique identifier, which is their mobile number, which becomes their account. So on the back end, we're able to track the usage patterns of all the 1.3 million households. Now, additionally, we are cashless. So customers load their accounts using mobile money. And that was one of the reasons why we came to Kenya, where mobile money is heavily used across multiple sectors. Very few households, if any, do not transact using mobile money. And then the second other differentiator is when you think about how households buy their fuel, they buy in small quantities, some because they earn money daily. So they have to allocate, depending on how much money they earn, they have to allocate money towards fuel. So we've adapted our bundle sizes to that. So customers are actually able to buy from as little as the quantity needed to cook for a day, all the way to filling the canister. We install these KOKO points in retail shops very close to where our customers live. Again, we are only present in areas where our customers live, so you will not find us in upmarket areas. And we ensure that customers can have a KOKO point anywhere within 100 to 300 meters. We're also looking at other avenues that will enable us get much closer to the household without necessarily the distribution having to install a KOKO point. Now, the retailers are called agents. They are our partners. We sign agreements with them. And in return for them installing the KOKO point within their shops, they need to have a pre-existing business. They earn a commission, so it's a revenue share for every cooker that they sell and every liter of fuel that they sell. To date, we have installed about 3,000 of these KOKO points across about 15 cities across the country. We use micro tankers to distribute the fuel to the various KOKO points. So on the back end, we are able to monitor all KOKO points. They all have SIM cards and they're able to transmit data. They transmit data every minute. And we're able to track how much fuel is in those KOKO points. And through fuel, we have a software that enables us to be able to plan the distribution, the refueling of the KOKO points. And this is then what enables us to assign tasks to the various micro tankers, which are mapped to a number of KOKO points. So every morning, the drivers of the various micro tankers wake up and they find an assignment of the KOKO points to which they need to deliver fuel. And each micro tanker is mapped to a specific petrol station. So the total of the fuel that will be dispensed to the KOKO points within that day is assigned. And the driver drives the micro tanker to the petrol station, is able to connect remotely, and does not need to input the amount that will be uplifted from the underground tanks. The system calculates all that the same way that the system calculates how much fuel will be dispensed to which KOKO point. So a lot of technology has been developed on the back end to enable us to minimize human interference within the process. Something else to highlight is that the refillable canister can only be docked. You can only lock it at the ATM and on the cook stove, which ensures that we maintain the integrity of the fuel. Given that we fund our activities using carbon revenues, it is important for us to guarantee that the customers in using our KOKO cooker are also using the KOKO fuel. So you will find that it's not possible for a customer to refuel the cooker using fuel other than from KOKO. And then last but not least, on the extreme right, you can see the Network Operations Center. So we have our staff who on the back end receive about 300 million data points every day from the KOKO point, from the micro tanker, and from the depot, which is at the petrol station, and they're able to analyze all these data points and be able to act as and when anything comes up. But this system also enables us to track the movement of cash and also the movement of carbon. Now, in terms of when we look at the impact, not only are we able to ensure that over 1.3 million households are cooking with KOKO fuel, bioethanol, every evening, we're able to guarantee right now, about 12,000 Kenyan farmers that there will be an additional product over and above sugar. So for them, they expect to have more money in their pockets. The 4,000 KOKO agents are earning higher incomes. In terms of the KOKO point, it's very easy to use. The only requirement for the shopkeeper is to always make sure that the shop is open and to be there as and when a customer has a question. But other than that, they pay only about $100 to $125 when they sign on, but they receive the cookers and the bioethanol on consignment. So we find that a lot of them are reporting higher incomes from this. And then in terms of employees, we have around 700 Kenyan employees, but we have also expanded into Rwanda as our second market, and obviously as we look to expand into additional markets, but we're also present in other countries. We do our manufacturing in India, but we have offices in London as well. Next slide, please. So this just outlines graphically how we grew. We launched just towards the end of 2019, just before COVID hit. We did not foresee this, but it also served as a blessing in disguise because given the lockdowns that happened, we were able to engage in the houses, in the homes with our customers, which enabled us to really pitch to them the solution. If you look at the way our solution, how customers buy the fuel, how they dispense it into the cooker, and how they use the cooker, it has a regulator just like you would find in a typical LPG cooker. So a lot of education is required. So we were able to undertake a lot of this education. But we really took off in 2021 when we eventually found the right price point, which was about the $15. And from that point, we've never looked back. Next slide, please. And that is just an image of the KOKO point closely. And the reusable canister docked in, and a customer selecting, you're able to see all the bundle sizes. So when a customer docks in, it identifies them by name because on the back end they have registered. And the customer inputs a 4-digit PIN, which gives them access to their account. And when they open up, they're able to see the price per liter and how much money they have in their wallet. And based on the amount of money in their wallet, the bundle sizes that they can purchase. And we find because of how much we've ensured that safety is at the heart of everything we do, we find that a lot of mothers send their children. You cannot access the bioethanol within the canister. And even if someone were to do that, they would have to break the canister. Mothers feel very safe. When you cook, it burns cleanly. The cook stove also ensures that there's no access to fuel. That we find that a lot of mothers then send their children, and the child, all they need to know is the 4-digit PIN and how much money they need to actually purchase. Next slide, please. And then these are just visuals of customers. On the left is a customer docking. So the process of them actually locking the canister into the cooker and then dispensing fuel. It dispenses the fuel into 2 tanks. Under each cooker is a tank of about 1.2 liters capacity. Once the customer puts in the reusable canister, they twist, and the twisting motion is what opens it up and enables the dispensing. A safety feature that we have built in is when the canister is docked, it is not possible to light. So that way, any risk of there being a fire is reduced. until the canister is removed and the hatch into which it was docked closed, only then can a customer be able to light. And then it is easy to carry. It is easy to light. We find that a lot of our cash-conscious consumers do not necessarily have a lot of space. So most of them will put it on a table like we see on the left, cook, and then once they're done, they will be able to remove it and put it away. So again, it is compact enough to take a little space. Next slide, please. So I just want to speak about the KOKO mechanism, which speaks to how the use of carbon credits enables accelerated uptake. So one of the key things to bear in mind when we are talking about carbon credits, generation of carbon credits and continued sustainability of the business means that you access markets such as the airline market. And when you access the airline market is what we call a compliance market. And compliance market means it's regulated, not only by the government of the country where the project is located, but also by various other entities. And what that results in is a higher price, because then there are quite a number of requirements that a carbon project has to adhere to. And the predictability of selling in a compliance market means that as you have visibility of the price that you will get for your carbon credits, you can be able to project the extent to which you will subsidize. Now, for us, being able to access that market means we will then be able to predict the price that we will set for the bioethanol. And increasingly, our commitment is as we get higher and higher prices for the carbon credits, we will be able to pass on this benefit to households, and therefore more and more customers will onboard. Next slide, please. And just highlights, and I think these have been highlighted in terms of the positive environmental, economic, and social impacts of using bioethanol. We are rated an ISO Tier 4 WHO in terms of reduced emissions. We burn ultra clean. Economic impact, I have highlighted that. Just want to call out new tax revenues. If you look at charcoal and firewood, not a lot of governments can put up their hands and say there's any tax revenue from this fuel. So definitely working through a regulated area such as bioethanol for clean cooking, they can count on additional tax revenues. Next slide, please. And the last one is I just want to highlight that the growth of this sector has been supported by the government. One of the documents that we have developed that government can always look back on is the ethanol cooking fuel master plan that serves as a reference document and speaks to the opportunity that that private sector can uptake in terms of producing ethanol from various feedstock. And this was a document that was developed in partnership with various government ministries, various private sector players, and also various non-government entities. And this as a document is one of the ones that we hope can be picked up and developed in other countries because it shows the potential. So as we look forward, as we look to expand to the various countries, the various households that continue to cook with clean cooking, we are more than happy to partner with various other like-minded individuals, and we definitely look forward to seeing what we can do in the Indian market, given that they have excess bioethanol. I'll stop there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sophie, for a fantastic and very informative design and your presentations, which is very encouraging. Thank you very much. We'll come back to you with some questions. So now I will invite Mr. Manav Gedam. He is General Manager and Technical Service of Indian Oil Corporations Limited, the chemical engineer by profession, holding degrees from LIT Nagpur and IIT Bombay. Manav brings extensive experience in refinery operations, monitoring and advanced process control across IOCL's various refineries, has been instrumental in the commissioning of second generation and third generation ethanol and demo plants, and is currently focused on maximizing the throughput of existing ethanol units, the second generation, and valorizing of byproducts. Over to you, Manav. You can start now.
Good evening, everyone, and good morning.
Very good evening.
Thank you, Global Biofuel Alliance, for giving me the opportunity to speak on learnings from commercial 2G ethanol plant. So, in this session, I shall cover the what are the ethanol pathways. Then we shall see what is our commercial 2G ethanol project, cost and and licenses involved, and then we shall see the then we will see the in detail the process of 2G ethanol plant which produces ethanol from rice straw, and after that we will see the issues which we observed or problems which we faced while commissioning and operation of this commercial 2G ethanol plant, and then finally we will see the learnings from this 2G ethanol plant. Okay, now first with the pathways of ethanol, the first generation ethanol, then second generation ethanol, third generation ethanol, which is one of the plant in this Panipat refinery, which produces ethanol from CO2, and hydrogen, which are the components of off gases from one of our hydrogen generation plant, and another is the fourth generation, which is through the genetically modified this rice straw and algae also. So I will skip this, and I can say that I was closely associated with this second generation ethanol at Panipat refinery, which and third generation ethanol in the last 3 years. First, about the project overview of this commercial 2G ethanol plant. This 2G ethanol plant produces ethanol from rice straw, and this plant cost is around, it has been commissioned and cost was around 1,000 crores, and it has been licensed by Praj Industries, and it was commissioned in April 2023. The plant capacity is 100 kiloliters per day, and feedstock is rice straw. Around we require 720 metric ton per day. Out of that, 550 will be used for around 500 will be used in the process, and around 150 will be processed will be used for generation of steam, because we require to fire other byproducts. So 150 will be used for the steam generation. And as you know that this rice straw need a lot of space to store. We receive the rice straw in the form of bales, and we in the plant we have capacity to store for 2 days only, around 1400. And so for that we have 6 depots in and around 50 kilometers of Panipat refinery, and we can store around 130,000 metric ton of biomass. Now, about this 2G ethanol plant. This 2G ethanol plant has got mainly 4 sections. First is the biomass preparation section, in which we collect the biomass from the depots, and then we store it here in this 2G ethanol plant. After that, this rice straw is crushed, because we need that size of the rice straw should be in around 30 mm. And after that, we need to wash this rice straw, because it contains grains also, and then grease as well as sand and mud. So in order that downstream sections works properly, for that we need to wash it. After washing, then it goes to the next section, which is the main pre-treatment section, where we impregnate that washed rice straw with H2SO4, and this after impregnation it loosens, means because this rice straw contains cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin. Lignin binds that these hemicellulose and cellulose. For that we need to break that structure, and we do that by impregnating with the H2SO4. After that, we cook it, means we heat that rice straw at around 140 degrees centigrade and at 11 kg, 170 degrees centigrade and at 11 kg. Once this pre-treatment is done, means this part of this hemicellulose converts to the xylose, and after that the cellulose which is there, which is around 30 to 35%, goes into the enzymatic hydrolysis sections. Here we add enzymes and we let it there at 55 degrees centigrade for 72 hours, and then cellulose gets converted into the glucose. After this enzymatic hydrolysis, we get around 6% sugars, and then these means xylose and glucose goes into the fermentation section, which happens at 35 degrees centigrade, and we add yeast here. Yeast convert those sugars into the ethanol, and we get around 3% of ethanol. And after that, it goes into the distillation sections, where we use vacuum and pressurized distillation, so that we get 95% 95% ethanol, from 3% to 95%. And after that, we have got a dehydration section, which uses molecular sieves for removing the water from the ethanol. The next, now this ethanol we have produced, but bottom of this distillation sections, which has mainly lignin and unconverted cellulose, hemicellulose, and that goes into the solid handling section, where we have solid liquid separation system, where we squeeze this slurry to separate this lignin rich wet cake, and that water which after squeezing those slurry that goes into the evaporation section, where we heat it and we remove water, and that water is recycled. Part of that water also goes into the process condensate treatment plant for reducing COD, so that it can be recycled again. And the next for this, as you said, that as I said, we need to heat this, we need steam, we need to heat it, and we are also, we need to run the drives also. So for that, we have the boilers, then water treatment plant, chemical storage, and air compressors. And also, since I said enzyme and yeast, an enzyme needs to be stored less than 10 degrees centigrade. So we have cold storage enzyme, a cold storage section for storing enzymes. Now we will see the in detail about this 2G ethanol commercial process. So biomass in the form of bales comes to the material handling section, where we have got mills. We had installed 6 number of mills. And each was having a capacity of 6 metric ton per hour. And that mill, the purpose was to bring down the size to less than 30 mm. 95% of the material should be around 30 mm. But the mills, since are vulnerable for the moistures, as early in the design, it was considered less than 15%. But however, we were getting 40%, so they did not work. So we went for the shredders. Now this is the size of the. So once we get the 30 mm size, then we wash it in the wet wash section. After the wet wash section, it goes into the pre-treatment section, where we impregnate with the acid H2SO4, and then we heat it in a horizontal reactors at around 170 degrees centigrade and 1 kg. And here in pre-treatment section, this hemicellulose gets converted into the xylose, and then cellulose, lignin, and xylose goes into the hydrolysis section, where we add enzymes, and those enzymes converts the cellulose into the glucose at 55 degrees centigrade. So after this hydrolysis sections, we get around 6% sugars, and this 6% sugars goes into the fermentation section, where we add yeast, and that yeast converts sugars into the ethanol, and we get around 3% ethanol. Then we send it to the distillation section and dehydration section, and from there we get around 99.7% ethanol and moisture around less than moisture around 500 ppm. Now from this distillation section, slurry which has unconverted cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin, and goes into the solid liquid separation. It's just a filter press, you can say. And then here the solid is removed, and that solid, which contains around 50% moisture, goes into the boilers for producing steam. And the water from the solid liquid separation section goes into the evaporators. Here we evaporate it, so that part of the water can be recycled, and part of the water goes into the treatment and for treatment, so that, and again the water will be recycled. From this multi-effect evaporators, we get concentrated syrups. So that syrup, again, earlier design as per the time, it is to be fired into the boiler for production of steam. And for burning this lignin cake and concentrated syrup, we need to fire biomass. So that, because both this concentrated syrup and lignin need around 650 degrees centigrade to burn. So for that, we need to use biomass as a supplementary fuel. So this is all about the process. Now we will see what problems we face during the commissioning and operation of this 2G ethanol plant. First problem we observed in the cutting sections, because as I said, we had installed mills, and 6 number of mills, and the section was disintegrator, and after that mill, and that for withdrawing the crushed biomass, we have vacuum system and also for the removal of the dust, and all the cyclones were there. But these mills are vulnerable for moistures, and that capacity, which was 6 ton per hour, but they were giving hardly 1 ton, and frequent choking and all these things we have seen. So many modifications went, but we could not do that. So after that, we went for the shredders. So we procured 3 numbers of shredders and 2-stage shredders. 2-stage shredders we procured, and so we could arrange. Our requirement was around 20 metric ton per hour of shredded biomass, and that we could meet using these shredding sections. So problem of shredding means cutting the biomass up to 30 mm, that was resolved by installing the shredders. So this is our milling area where this biomass in the farm. These are the bales, and this goes into the through the conveyors into the disintegrators, and from the disintegrator it goes to the mill, and from the mills those are sucked using these vacuum sections, filters, and in between we have what are cyclones for removal of the dust, and heavy biomass falls into the silos. So now we replace this, we install an additional shredders, and for that, and this is, you can see this is the picture of the shredder, and these are the teeths inside the shredders. So the shredders, we resolve our problem of reduction of biomass size. Now the next section in this 2G ethanol plant is washing. So means, as I said, that it contains mud, sand, and as well as grits, and also some grains, also rice grains. So that has to be removed used in the wet washing sections. And originally in the design, it was 2% mud was considered. However, in actual, we got 5 to 6%, even more than that. So because of that, what was happening? When this biomass loaded with this much of the mud was coming into the wet wash sections. In wet wash section, what we do, we have got a beaters and paddles and those are submerged inside the water, and those and rotates, and it washes this biomass. The biomass goes in forward direction, wash biomass, while the grits and sand will come at the bottom. And we adjust based on the biomass capacity, we adjust these rates, rotations of this beater and paddle rods. And after this, as I said, this wash biomass goes forward, and while this sand and all this settles at the bottom of these wet wash sections. And the process was that this water was supposed to go into the solid liquid separations as part of the purge. So and return the water. And so that what the water which is returned, we should have the TSS of less than 300 ppm. But what was happening, because while we were doing the purge into the solid liquid separation, it was creating the issues over there. This mud was getting this cots were getting clogged, and as well as the mud, it was very difficult to remove the mud from this solid liquid separation cloths. So that and also because that we were not able to purge into the solid liquid separation system because it was creating the issues. So this mud, this TSS was increasing into the recycled water, and that were choking the steam turbo washers nozzles, and also that mud was getting carried out into the downstream section, and it was leading to the erosion and non-functioning of the downstream sections systems. So our motto was to remove the solids from this water. So for that, initially we went for the refiller based on the experience of this paper industries, and we installed this refiller. And along with that, for settling the water, we had installed this chemical dosing skid also. We use polyelectrolytes, and these are the pumps, so that part of the water was recycled. But still this problem, because our water circulation rate was 550 meter cube per hour, and it was having mud more than 5 to 6%. So this was not working. So we went again and again, we started thinking, and we come out with the clarifier again. And this capacity of the clarifier is around 2000 meter cube, and we can handle around 550 meter cube per hour and 3 hours of residence time. But initially there was a lot of thought process was there, whether to go for this clarifier or air system, which we can remove, because while we were adding some chemicals into when we were doing the jar test into the water, that what was happening, some of the biomass was floating at this. So whether we require air flocculators or we require clarifier. So both this, but then we went for lot of companies. We asked them to bring their chemicals. We did the jar test, and after that we finalized that. Then based on the chemicals, we finalized that we will go for the clarifiers. So now this clarifier is installed. So now this mud problem, removal of the mud from the recycling water problem has been resolved. Now the next section is pre-treatment section. So this pre-treatment section, as I said, we need to impregnate the by rice straw into the acid, and after the impregnation, we squeeze it, and then we heat it in the digesters at around 170 degrees centigrade. But what was happening, this impregnator, means whatever the OEM was having the experience of wood chips, and because this rice straw is the first of its kind in Asia, so he was having the experience of design this impregnator and all equipments of the pre-treatment based on the wood chips. But the rice straw is a different kind of material. Even wheat straw is better, but rice straw, what happens, it has got a lots of silica and density difference is there. So this equipment was not working. So then the OEM did the lot of modifications. Some of them includes this increase the motor capacity from 22 kilowatt to 75 kilowatts, and then also some anti-rotation bars were changed, and after that the system improved. So this is also and still we are going to implement this biomass recycling section, so that again then what the balance problems can be solved. Now third problem was this byproduct. As I said, this to the solid liquid separation system, we get around 300 to 350 metric ton per day of lignin rich wheat cake, and syrup around 200 to 250. The initial idea was to burn these into the boilers to produce steam, and use that steam into the pre-treatment, distillation, and evaporation section. But what was happening, these two products are whether first of its kind. So we were finding it, and it required 650 to 700 degrees centigrade and consistent rice straw firing, so that to burn them, and around 10 ton per hour. So, and even while we tried to burn also, but we found the problems of great ash, So we should find so many problems. So we were not able to burn this one. Then so our option was, and so this rice, this concentrated syrup and lignin rich wet cake was piling up. So we decided to go for get the steam from other cross sections. So we, since in the refinery was there nearby, so we laid one 2.5 kilometer line from the refinery to this 2G ethanol plant. So problem of steam was resolved and process was stabilized. Now, what to do with these byproducts, means lignin and concentrated syrup, because we were not able to burn this in boiler in the 2G ethanol plant. So this is the picture of the lignin rich wet cake, and this is concentrated syrup. So we went to the so many agencies or industries and gave so many samples to more than 100. So now after that we got one solution, that this lignin rich wet cake and concentrated syrup can be blended along with the other biomass, and these are the biomass pellets can be produced. So now and so this so disposal of this concentrated syrup and lignin rich wet cake has been resolved, and we are able to valorize this product, these byproducts also. Now the another problem was ash. Since we were burned this rice lignin rich wet cake and concentrated syrup, so but clinkers were forming, and the earlier, as NV says, that ash from this 2G ethanol plant was supposed to be utilized in cement and brick industries, but because this ash quality was not meeting, some cracks were observed in the bricks, and since this also it was not suitable for the cement industries. So again we went problem was there, but finally we auctioned it and being used for the landfills currently. But this one of the problem why it was not being able to use in brick industry, because it contains the silica. CaO content is less, while the ash which is generated from the this coal and all these things contains high amount of CaO, so calcium oxide. So because of that, cement can be produced, and we have also seen that whatever the those industries which use rice straw for the production of steam and all these things, there also that ash is not being used for any cement industry. So but now the lignin and rich advantage is that the lignin and rich since are being, these biomass pellets are being burned along with the coal in the thermal power plants, because there is a mandate that 10% should be the green fuel. So that ash can also be utilized. So anyway, so with this valorization of this concentrated syrup, and we could resolve this problem of disposal of this lignin and concentrated syrup. So now we have seen the issues. Now we will see the learnings from this 2G ethanol plant. So first learning is that since we have seen that we face the biomass, means mud was higher, and also the silica is there. So we have seen so many issues like erosion of some of the equipments. So our learning is that from the going for the commercial plant, straightway we should not go for this straightway we should not go for the commercial scale from the lab. We need to have first small capacity increase in as per the requirement, and then go for this commercial plant. Next learning is that too much in this plant we have seen too much of the automation. Like I can share, this is a grabber which was used to grab these bales, and then it was used to dump into this conveyor, downstream conveyors, and then it was moving forward. But we have seen that so many problems we have seen since so many instrumentation was involved. So we made this process simple also, because when we went for the shredders, we simply put the conveyors, and we were just simply put the straw manually, and the system worked. Now the next section, as this rice straw from the milling section was from the silo, it was dumping into these silos, and it was brought into the conveyor through this rotating screws. But this screw sequence, it was also not working, but with modifications, and after that it started working. But still, this is also not required. We can simply go for the shredders and the milled rice straw. We can straightway go into the weight wash section. Now, as I said that in the design, mud content was considered less than 15%. Less than 2%. But however, we have seen that since we collect this commercial scale bales from this plant, and while collecting this, baling this rice straw, we have seen lots of mud is coming along with these bales. And also when we store it, then during that also uh, some of the mud will get accumulated into the rice straw. So we need to, and also that there are variations into the silica from the area to area, and based on this, and also if you see in this region, in the north region, just after this rice straw season, we can see that winter comes. So during that period, that there will be a fog and all these things, and so moisture will also be there. So we hardly find any time for drying this rice straw. And while if you see in the Orissa and all these things, there are two crops, and you can see the temperature will also always be more than 30 degrees centigrade. So there will be a lot of so quality of the rice straw will be different in case of the Orissa and all these things, while in case of in the north. Now, our experience is that when we visited this into the other industries like paper industries to just see their best practices, because we had seen that the part of this means upstream of this pre-treatment section, the process is very much similar in the paper industries. So we can say that this this 2G ethanol can be clubbed with the sugar or paper industries, or should be near to the big refineries, so that utilities can be brought from them, and the capex and operations can be reduced. Next learning is that along with the 2G plant, there should be a 1G ethanol plant also, because in case of non-availability of rice straw or this rice straw equipments, if a 2G process is not working, then this 1G ethanol can, because this distillation and dehydration is very much common with the 2G and 1G plant. So that part of can be used also, and so capex can be reduced, and this 1G ethanol yield is also higher. So that way it should be 2G and 1G plant can be clubbed for the better economics. And also we have seen that as earlier we conceptualized to use this lignin rich wet cake and concentrated syrup for the burning, but at the same time we should see that we should focus more on for developing the use of these byproducts for other purposes, because lignin can also be used in other processes, so that economics can be there, and we should have some options instead of burning into the boiler, so that we can dispose it off, so that process can start run. And another we are also exploring, and we need help also from your side if you are there. See, right now we are only burning this lignin rich wet cake and concentrated, but we are also trying to we are burning this in form of pellets, but we are also trying to produce biobitumen. We have already our R&D has already laid a road, and testings are going on. But other we are also trying for CBG also, use of this concentrated syrup in CBG and lignin for utilization in for plastics purpose. So in that say that, so we should there should be a focus also on the valorization of this byproduct, so that economics of this 2G commercial plant can be made better. So with this,
Thank you, Manas, for a quite hectic session, but I must say that's very, very insightful. and your knowledge in this process, because you were got involved with this plant from the beginning. It has helped a lot for the all attendees here. They are appreciating with their remarks. So thank you very much. So now I will quickly open the question box and we'll take to maybe 2-3 questions. Yeah. So there is a question of having experienced change in quality of straw during storage. Yes. Manav, you
Yes,
can share
yes,
your.
we have seen, because during the storage, what happens during in the sunny days, upper layer, we have seen in decent weathering has we have seen, and we had taken this rice straw in hands, it was getting crushed. So we have seen weathering and all these things. Even the mud was also, we have seen lots of mud coming along with the rice straw.
Yeah. Okay. So there is a question of, I think for ethanol, that's the IEA joint platform for cross-learning initiative between oil and gas and biofuel sectors for sharing best practices in safety design, incident investigation, and emergency response planning. I think, well, the ethanol industry is growing the scale, and YSD is not effective for them. So there is a real good scope of having a cross-learning. Yeah, this question is taken. And so thank you for Mr. Geda for an insightful presentation. Could you please share the cost of production? I think here I can respond to that, having handled this plant from the very beginning, that as the plant, once it goes to the scale, then definitely you can have a price outlook. But here it has become a learning ground. There's all these options which Manav has shown. It is great learning to start with. Yes, definitely there will be a cost competitiveness, but not definitely with 1G. But 2G ethanol having a very good CI. If you see the carbon intensity is very good. So this can be very good feedstock for SAP production, which is going to come in future. So now bamboo-based 2G ethanol challenges in India. Yes, there is a plant in the, Numaligarh. They have a different sets of challenge, but we don't have expert here. So we are flagging it for a separate webinar. We'll try to get someone from Numaligarh who has been getting involved in that so that we can take it forward. Whether IOCL is investing in more 2G plants? As of now, this is on the study and the economic model are being envisaged. So it may so happen, looking at the future SAF progress, and with an expectation that A2J technology stabilizes across the globe, definitely there will be a taking on the possibility of taking it further. But as Mr. Manav has said, that the CBG is also coming, the same feedstock can be used for CBG production with a much lower investment. That's also one area where more and more biomass will be used for a country like India, and also globally where the countries are having gas economy in place. Let us know approximate GCB of biomass pallet. Mr. Manav, do you have any idea on the GCB of biomass pallet? You can quickly tell. Yeah, please, you are mute. You just unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. Pallet GCB is 3,500 to 4,500, and moisture is less than 10%.
Okay, great. Thank you.
But it has only 10% of concentrated syrup and 15% of lignin-rich wet cake. Balance is other biomass.
Okay.
Because because both has got a moisture of around 50%. So in order to bring that moisture, we need to have a dried biomass, other biomass.
Okay. So it answers the question of Dr. Gould that what is the calorific value of anodized lignin cake and concentrated syrup? Mr. Manav, if you can give the idea on this valorized lignin cake and concentrated syrup?
Yes, sir. Yes, we got the price of this lignin-rich wet cake is around 1,650 per metric ton, means 1.6 rupees per kg.
Yeah.
And it is now equivalent with the rice straw price. Almost.
And the calorific value?
Percent moisture also.
And
the calorific value of this lignin-rich wet cake is it is around 2,000.
Okay.
2,000 to 2,500, but it has got a moisture. On the dry basis, it is good 4,300. dry basis.
So that you have got a very good opportunity to get rid of these two things, because it was felt to be a challenging to dispose this off, looking at the pollution control requirement also.
Yes, sir. We are also we have given samples so many, and that's why I said we need also help. If suppose somebody is working on this lignin and all these things, we can come to there. We can give the samples and work. Also, some people can work because economics, ethanol from the 2G ethanol is very good. Means you can see the 99.7% is the ethanol, and methanol is 0.12%. If I consider the other plants also. And moisture we are getting is 500 ppm. So this ethanol content is too much. It's very pure. We can say 99.7 is good one.
Yeah. So thank you very much. There are a few more questions, so we'll try to get directly whatever possible. And thanks to each speaker. Thanks, Mr. Mara. Thanks, Mr. Balani, Ms. Sophie, and thank you for all our speakers since the start of this presentation. Dr. Glosia, Dr. Larsen, and Mr. Jitendra Goel, and all the attendees, all the audience, very expert audience we also had, because the level of questions was very interesting. And from GBA, we are trying to reach out more and more countries, more and more experts, more and more students, more and more people around who are having interest in this segment. And this is going to be a great learning exercise. And all the best to each of you. I will definitely come back with each of you if for your relevant questions has been asked from the audience side. And also look forward for such interesting interactions in the future with more and more insights and development. And all the best for COP 30. And we look forward, Dr. Glosia, you have your thought of quadrupling the biofuels in this COP 30 and the campaign for that, so that you can take care of that. So thank you very much. I once again thank each of you for sparing time and also taking an extended time. So it's generated a lot of interest in you. And we assure you that we will again come back with more interesting segments discussion in this forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shantanu sir. Thank you, GBA, for giving me a opportunity.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.